Hey there, my fellow designers and creatives. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to a brand new video on my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be reviewing landing page case studies. There's a lot to cover in this video, so without any further ado, let's get started. Now make sure to check out my playlist where I review a lot of problem statements and talk about case studies. So make sure to check out this playlist. I'll leave a link down below in the description. Very helpful, very important for everybody to learn and understand about how to write really good case studies. So in this video, I'm going to be focusing on landing page case studies. Now, if you've seen my previous videos, I speak about 5 types of problem statements. And as you can see, the 5th one is about landing pages. And as you can see, there are a bunch of emojis, which basically means that I don't like people writing landing page case studies. And I'm going to spend some time talking about why this is and helping people get more context and perspective and, more clarity on this because there's a lot of misinformation online. And it's important to understand before you make any decisions because it's a matter of time and energy that you're putting in for your career growth, right? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that before I get into reviewing the case studies. Now, the biggest question is why not landing pages? Like, why shouldn't you work on landing pages? Now, there are 4 main reasons. The first one is that it does not demonstrate any problem-solving skills whatsoever, right? A landing page has a very specific purpose, and that is to educate users or customers or potential clients or whatever about your product or service. And you're not really solving a problem. It's not a product design problem. It's more of a content game, and it's more of a communication game, and it's more of a marketing game, right? So product designers aren't really solving a problem over here. There are different people who are solving the problem. And as a product designer, you're typically supposed to create multiple screens, user flows, experiences, right? But a landing page is just one single landing page, right? There's no, user flow as such, right? And so when you're lacking flows and you're not connecting screens, you're missing out on a very big important aspect of product design. The third thing is it's not a product designer's job to design landing pages, to be very honest. Now, of course, there's a conditions apply, and basically what that means is that I'm not saying that you will never design a landing page. The chances of you designing a landing page as a product designer is extremely low. And if you are a product designer and you are designing landing pages, then my friend, you are working in the wrong company. You're spending your time and energy working in the wrong place because that's not what product designers are supposed to do. Landing pages are made for marketing designers or for marketing professionals, and it's typically their job. Now, yes, in my career of, working as a product designer, I have designed landing pages. But this is probably, twice, of all the 100 projects that I worked on is just 2 projects where I've actually designed a landing page, right? And that's not really my core job. So if you are designing a lot of landing pages, then you are definitely in the wrong company, and that's not what you should be doing as a product designer. Now, if you like designing landing pages and that's what you want to do for your career, but that's not good if you want to be a product designer. And finally, it has 0 value if the landing page is visually poor. If your landing page is ugly, if your landing page does not look good, then there's absolutely no value of having that landing page case study or, having it in your portfolio whatsoever. Because the number one priority for a landing page is to be absolutely, gorgeous, absolutely good looking. It needs to be stunning. So if that itself is not good, it doesn't matter whether it even exists or not. So the question is if you want to go ahead and design landing pages, when should you spend time on landing pages, right? Let's say you do want to do it. In what cases can you do it? The first one is that you need to have the luxury of time. What that means is if you have a very long roadmap, from when you start learning design to when you start applying for jobs and you have plenty of time, then cool, it makes sense, right? If you want to dedicate probably just 1 or 2 weeks to design something, that's absolutely fine, right? So unless you have enough time for you to practice and build your skills, do not work on landing pages. You need to consider them as practice projects. You need to consider them as warm-up projects. You're not supposed to depend on it to get interviews because nobody is going to look at your landing page to give you a product design interview. People want solutions. People want experiences. People want mobile apps. People want web apps. That's what people want. People don't want landing pages. So before you go ahead and decide to work on a landing page, keep these 3 things in mind. Now, I am going to be critiquing 2 landing page case studies in this video, and it's going to be critiquing the entire case study, the landing page itself, and a lot of other things. So how would somebody as a recruiter even critique this, even if there is a situation where your landing page is being critiqued? The first thing is UI design as usual, right? I mean, there's no, discussion about it or no compromise about it at all. It has to be the number one priority. If it does not look good, then there is no point proceeding at all. The second thing is it solving a problem? Now, I understand that every company has to have a landing page because it needs to educate the company about the landing page, right? But a lot of the problem statements or projects that I see online, people are making landing pages for no reason whatsoever. And when I see their case studies and landing pages online, I'm like, it doesn't even make sense to have a landing page for this particular purpose. And I'm going to show you that and give you an example over here, right? So unless it's actually adding value or it's actually making sense to even have a landing page, there's absolutely no point. Then I'm going to look at the order of the sections. Does the order of the sections make sense? Because, you need to be telling a big story. If you're not telling a story through the landing page, then, you're defeating the purpose. Fourth is the content, the actual information that you put on the website. Is it crisp? Is it clear? Is it right? Is it presented correctly? Does it make sense? I'm going to question all of these things. And finally, communication. That's the most important thing. If you're not able to communicate your value, you're not able to communicate the benefits, the product, the service, whatever you're trying to communicate, if you're not communicating effectively and it's still very vague and it's really not helping anybody understand more about the landing page or the product or the service of the company, then again, the landing page has no value, right? So these are going to be my judging criteria, and this is pretty much what everybody is going to, use to judge a landing page itself. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and start reviewing 2 landing page case studies. All right, so let's get started. Now, before I continue, just a quick thing to remind everybody again, what I'm going to be doing is basically looking at the design, looking at the sections of the website, obviously focusing on the UI details as well. And of course, does this make sense from a product standpoint? Yes, it is a landing page assignment. It's going to be focusing on the landing page, but I'm sure he's going to be applying for the role of a product designer. So I'm going to be testing his product skills as well. And even when you're building a website, you have to think about product. So let's get started. Now the title says case study, how I designed a killer landing page for a virtual reality arcade gaming company. Okay, so too many things happen over here. Let's break this down. Now, yes, it's a case study. That's fine. How I designed a killer landing page. Now, refrain from using words like this because this isn't, first of all, professional. And it's not for you to decide whether this is a killer landing page or not. This is not some sort of like an Instagram post. This is, it's very important to make sure that it sounds very professional. Like even if you worked on a project in your company and then you're not going to call it a killer feature, right? So do not, use words like this. How I designed a landing page is fine, right? How I designed a landing page for a virtual reality arcade gaming company. So a couple of things over here. We see virtual reality, we have arcade, and then we have a gaming company, okay? So virtual reality is VR, which means that you need a VR headset, which means you need another physical device to make this work. Now, I'm getting a lot of questions here, and of course, some of these might be answered later on in the case study. But the first question is, first of all, what is this company selling, right? So a landing page for a virtual reality arcade gaming company. I understand it's a gaming company, but what are you selling? Are you selling the virtual headset or are you selling games or what? I don't know what you're selling, right? So that's a question that I have in my mind. It doesn't have to be answered here in the title, but I hope that it's answered later on, okay? Now it also says arcade. Now, I don't know what really that means in this context. Does that mean the company makes arcade games or sells arcade games or what? I'm not entirely sure, right? But anyway, it's a little vague. I think this can be a lot more clear and crisp, but not a big deal. Let's move on. Okay. So we've got the nice hero section. Looks pretty good. I think he has done a phenomenal job in terms of typography. This guy knows how to design really good interfaces. So NeoArc, I'm guessing is the name of the company. Landing page design. All right, we've got some visuals. Looks polished. I like this font. Although the biggest problem I see here is that I'm seeing too many fonts. So I'm seeing one over here, I'm seeing another one over here, I'm seeing another one over here, and seeing another one over here. I think there are 3 in total, so I would try to minimize that. I'm just being very picky right here, but not a big deal. Okay, so this project was a part of the second assignment of a cohort that he was a part of. All right, so this person is from a bootcamp. The project brief, the objective was to create a visually appealing landing page while considering its functionality. Now, this sentence sounds off, and only because of the fact that when you say considering functionality, I'm going to assume the functionality of the website, which is basically like interactions and tappability and scrollability and clickability. I don't know if that is being considered over here in this case study or not, but Nevertheless, a landing page has to have functionality spoken about. It can never be static. So yeah, generally no comments over here as such. Timeline of the project, 7 business days. 7 business days. Okay. I don't know why it says 7 business days. You could just say 7 days. This isn't like a logistics company like Amazon. I find this quite funny, but whatever. Okay. Problem statement. Design a landing page for a virtual reality arcade games company. Okay, now a quick thing to everybody over here who's watching this video is that this sentence is not actually a problem statement. This is not a problem. This is a solution. You design a landing page for a particular reason, right? And so ideally, this needs to be called a project brief rather than a problem statement. So anytime you want to frame a sentence like this, always call it a project brief. Now, in this case, the problem statement is pretty obvious. It's a company and needs a landing page. The requirement is pretty straightforward. So we don't have to get into whether this problem statement makes sense or not. This is a brief, and he says that this has been chosen as a list of 120 ideas from this tweet. All right, fine, whatever. Okay, so you can play around this. So there's a prototype. And I'm not going to click into all of those. So. This case study is divided into Act 1, which is intro, Act 2, research, Act 3, showcase. Now, I don't know why it's called act. Usually words like this is pretty much used in the acting industry or the filmmaking industry. I don't know why this is related to gaming, but I'm just going to ignore that. Okay. So refining the problem statement. Interesting. I approached the brief in 2 ways. The first idea was to showcase a VR headset product. Okay. While the second idea was to propose a subscription service. Okay. Considering the prevalence of gaming companies adopting a subscription model, I decided to go with the latter. So hence the final statement I decided would focus on was designing a landing page for a VR gaming subscription service. Now, this is still again a little unclear. Now, I can guess and assume what the right answer is, but here it's still a little unclear. Let me explain why. So first of all, it looks like the customer needs to have their own VR headset, all right? Or do you provide the VR headset as the subscription, right? Or how does this actually work, right? Because if you look at a product like, Apple Arcade, it's a subscription service for unlimited games that you can get on Apple Arcade, and you need to have, an Apple device, right? So in this case, does the company provide the VR headset or is it just the games, right? Now, again, if I as a customer need to have the headset and you're providing a subscription model to the games, then I'm assuming there needs to be an app, just like on your iPhone, which then has access to all these games, all right? Or not entirely sure how this works, but I'm sort of understanding that this is some sort of a subscription service to a bunch of games, just like Apple Arcade, right? All right, cool. So who is the intended audience? The intended audience for this landing page is people who already own a VR headset, right? So that answers my question. So this person already owns a VR headset and are passionate about gaming. I aim to capture their attention by invoking a nostalgia of arcade gaming in this new and futuristic form. So here again, things are a little bit contradicting for me. So you're saying nostalgia of arcade gaming in this new and futuristic form. So if you show it in a futuristic form, then it sort of, overpowers this concept of nostalgic arcade gaming, but I'm going to let it go. Fine. This is sort of like a very visual, subjective design choice. This has nothing to do with product. So I'm going to sort of let that go. It's cool. Desired outcome. Through this landing page, my goal was to pique the curiosity and excitement of target users regarding this new product in the gaming world. Now, this is wrong because you're actually selling a service. The product would be the VR headset, right? But you're actually selling a service. So this is for me wrong. So regarding this new service in the gaming world, while also prompting them to try out a game or commit to a paid plan. I'm going to read this again. Through this landing page, my goal was to pique the curiosity and excitement of the target users regarding this new product in the gaming world, while also prompting them to either try out a game or commit to a paid plan. This part is a little unclear, so that's fine. He seems to have made a trailer of it. I'm just going to ignore that for now. Okay, research. For this process, for this project, I followed a systematic design process to reach the outcome. The initial iteration took me 4 days. I'm gonna just ignore this because it's not really relevant. Incorporating the IDA framework. So during the ideation phase, I utilized the IDA framework, which I learned in one of the classes. My framework consists of 4 parts: attention, interest, desire, and action. All right. So basically, he's explaining how he used the framework. So attention is captivating hero section with copy that generates curiosity. I mean, this is pretty much basic psychology and standard for every single landing page. So I don't think it's really important to, explain this. This is expected. This is not something new. This is how landing pages are built. And if you did it right, then, it's pretty obvious that you incorporated this. You're using a framework over here, which is fine, but I'm just going to move on. Okay. Some research, there is some screenshots, fine, he's done some work, not really relevant for me, but yeah, okay. Key features of the product. Again, so it's not a product, you're selling a service, you're selling a gaming service, right? And a subscription service, right? Based on my research and ideation, I identified key features to highlight on the research page. Okay, so first of all, it's very unclear as to what research you did. So maybe let's look at it again. To gain insights, I conducted second research on how other game companies design landing pages. I analyzed their structures and content. And for example, an observation was that the lengthy scrolls were used to display key features, which I thought could be improved. All right, fine. Not entirely sure what that means, but okay. So I identified key features to highlight the landing page. Okay, low download size. Download size of what? I don't understand. Okay, but so to address the issue of large game file sizes, the focus was on highlighting that the product had a low download size. Now I'm going to start questioning a lot of product decisions over here. Now, first of all, if you have to have a VR product, a game on a VR product, the file size can be significantly large, because that involves a lot of heavy graphics. Now, a lot of games that you see today have a small download size when you're downloading the app. And then once you enter the app or the game, it then asks you to download additional, information, right? So it's going to say, hey, we need to download, 2 GB of data. Please stay connected to the Wi-Fi, right? So in that case, so that's a pattern that's already exists, right? So I don't know why this is a key feature. I think nobody is going to make a decision saying that, hey, I want to buy this subscription service based on this feature. So if this is not a big decision-making factor for me, this is not a key feature. The main thing about VR game is the experience. That's what people want to pay for, right? They don't care about the file size, to be very honest, right? So I would say this is not a key feature of the product. This is something that you can do as a product owner and try to reduce it as much as you can, but you don't have to tell anybody about it. That's not a key selling point for you to get customers, all right? Community and events, a platform where gamers can connect with others who share their interests, play together, and participate in events. Now, again, so how is this a key feature of the product? Little confusing, because it's like, I'm not entirely sure how this is actually adding value. When you say a platform, what do you mean a platform? A platform where gamers can connect. So can I connect in the VR world with people? I'm very unsure of how this actually works. And again, is this why somebody would buy your gaming subscription service, right? Your whole point of the landing page is to sell the subscription service to games. This is not a decision-making factor for them. This is not a decision-making factor. So these two from a product standpoint don't make sense. Rewards. Incorporated a rewards section to tap into the nostalgia of traditional arcades. Now, reward section exists even today on thousands of apps. I don't know how this is related to, arcade gaming, but whatever. Similar to physical arcades, user can earn tickets that can be exchanged for rewards. This feature enhances retention and competitiveness within the platform. So the biggest problem I'm having here is understanding how this entire product works. First of all, what is the product, right? And is there like an app inside which there are multiple games, or, earn tickets on which game? How do I earn these tickets? All of these are product things that are not really very clear. And if these are not clear to the user, then the landing page absolutely has no value, right? And this feature enhances retention and competitiveness within the platform. So we know what is the point of having a leaderboard and a reward system, but if you're selling multiple games in the subscription service, then how are you going to have a single leaderboard, right? And also, not everybody buys a VR headset or plays these games to be on the leaderboard. A lot of them play just for fun, right? They don't really care about the leaderboard as much, right? And the question here again for me now becomes, when you come down here to who is this intended for, you have to break this down a little bit more. So is this for hardcore gamers? Is it for casual gamers? Is it for, family members? What is the age group, right? Because who are you actually selling this for, right? Depending on who you're actually selling this for, you have to define how the content is going to be, what is the product requirements, and of course, what should be the copy on the website. So right now, from a product standpoint, a lot of this is incomplete and missing, right? So let's continue forward. Free to play. So play for free. Recognizing that many gamers prefer to try a product before committing, I added a game trial feature. So I'm assuming that a lot of people can try the game before they get the subscription. All right. This allows users to play multiple games for 5 hours each, enabling them to decide if they want to subscribe to the service. All right, fine. So this, I would say, is a good, important decision-making factor. These three, I would say totally not. And I don't know if this is what people actually care about. I really believe they don't care about this because I'm a gamer. I don't play hardcore games, but I do play a lot of mobile games, and I understand, the gamer persona. So yeah. Okay. Information architecture. So you've got header section, hero section, game carousel. I'm just going to ignore all of this because looking at the landing page is more important than this order for me. So I'm going to skip all this. Some wireframing. All right. There's some explorations, whatever. Okay. Not really important for me. Branding. I aim for a retro futuristic branding aesthetic, combining the nostalgia of arcade games with futuristic vibe of VR gaming. After several iterations, I finalized the word mark that captures the vibe. I drew inspiration from a number of sources, including Pinterest. All right. So, old school arcade vibes, fine futuristic typeface. The game consists of 2 words. Neo means new or future, and arc is taken from arcade, which gives nostalgia of gaming the best days, right? Now, I see that he's focusing too much on this word nostalgic, right? And I'm still not able to understand where is this point of nostalgia coming. Is it the type of games, or is it the graphics of the games? What is the nostalgic part, right? And I hope that answers my question. If not, then that would be an interview question. Okay, style guide, opted for dark mode design, target audience. All right, fine, skipping all of this, not really relevant for me. Okay. Then the visual design, he did a little bit of mood boarding. All right, cool. Final version, or I thought so. To arrive at the final version, I underwent 30 iterations, adjusting layouts, fonts, and other key elements. That's expected from everybody. The most time-consuming aspect was determining the key information to display in each screen and clarifying the purpose of each section. During the class presentation, I received positive feedback with a rating of 5 on 5 and a 4.5. And then apparently there's some positive feedback with some changes. This is easily a 6.5. Now, even though this is not related to case studies, I want to make this point. This is the biggest problem with the design bootcamps, is that you will get more positive feedback and more nice feedback rather than critical and constructive feedback, because bootcamps obviously have to run as a business, and for them they are going to say things like this to motivate you, but make sure to have a very good reality check and make sure to get reviews from outside people who do not belong to that bootcamp, so that you get a non-biased opinion, right? So here's the final version. I think there is a breakdown of each section, so we're going to look at that together, but so I'm going to ignore this for now. All right. So let's play a game. As you review the version above, try to identify mistakes or elements you dislike. Of course, that's the whole point of this video. We will see if your observations align with the changes made during the subsequent iterations. Feel free to share through the comments. Okay, cool. So iterations. After getting reviewed by a lot of mentors, I worked on feedback and created iterations. So section height. Reduce the height of certain sections that exceeded 800 pixels to ensure they fit within the screen. Now, this is fine, but not necessarily 800 pixel, right? Because some screens have, some laptops or some screens have a very small height, so even like 700 and 750. So I don't know where this number 800 is coming from. Also, sometimes things can overflow. Not everything has to always fit on the screen. So I would say that this is probably okay, but it isn't a hard and fast rule. All right. So screen height reduction. So let's see what he's done. So okay, he's just reduced the height of the screen, which I don't know, which is fine, I guess. There's nothing to comment here as such. All right. Honestly, this could actually go more than 800 pixels. I don't think this necessarily has to be in 800 pixels. This would pretty much work pretty well. So even this as well, I don't know why this has to be in an 800, pixel frame. So it doesn't matter. Right. So I would still say that, this restriction was not really needed. It could have overflown. Maybe the hero section could have been in this 800, limit, but then the rest of the screens can overflow, right? This means that now every section is going to be 800, which is going to make the website look really bad, because sometimes some sections need more space, some sections need less space. So I don't think this is a valid reason. Anyway. Iterations with copy, micro changes, adjusted the button colors to meet contrast. Additionally, I made more copy concise, reduce the font size. All right, a couple of things. Okay, so let's look at it. So before and then you have after. Let's read the copy. So it says recommended by top streamers. Okay. Dive into a world of arcade nostalgia, reinvented in VR. Dive into a dynamic fusion of nostalgia and virtual reality gaming mastery. Elevate your arcade experience into uncharted dimensions. Now, without a doubt, I can very clearly say that this was from ChatGPT, because only ChatGPT can give sentences like this. I hope I'm guessing that right. And the biggest problem here is that there are too many words, too complicated, and zero clarity on what is the actual product or service, right? And of course, this is the before. So now let's look at the after, which is now it's saying 12,761 gamers currently online. Arcade nostalgia reinvented in VR. Revive the arcade spirit with NeoArc subscription that offers an extraordinary collection of classic arcade games. All right. So here I'm getting more clarity, right? So this, of course, this copy is a lot better. And here it says offers an extraordinary collection of classic arcade games, right? So I think the point of nostalgia is the type of games. That means the games that were made many, many years ago, which is nice. Now, one question here is, and probably this would be an interview question, is it says 12,761 gamers currently online. Now, first of all, there's a comma missing, so, pay attention to detail. And why is the number of gamers who are currently online more important? Now, I, as a user, probably would want to see how many people have actually purchased this or have gotten access. Why is currently being online important? Why not show the number of people who've subscribed, and you can say things like, more than 12,000, or let's say if the number of people who are online is 12,000, then the number of people who've subscribed to the product might be double, right? So, or maybe even 15,000. So let's say 15K plus active users, all right, or 15,000 subscriptions. Why is the number of people who are online actually important to make a decision-making factor, right? So right at the top, this is the first text on the landing page, and I already have questions on this, right? Now, I don't know what the answer is or what the logic is, but this would be an interview question, all right? So moving forward, pricing section and revamp. Okay, I think he's just showing the pricing section. So let's look at this again. So choose from diverse pricing plans crafted for all gamers. Unveil into a trio of gaming possibilities. Our pricing plans offer a spectrum of options, ensuring every player finds their ideal path. So I think a lot of this text is too much of an overkill. You don't have to use so many fancy words and big sentences. Just say pricing, all right? And I think that's enough, right? Maybe a single line of text, right? You don't have to sell anything over here. You've got annual and monthly. So this is the before design. Let's see. So free plan, 0. So trial up to 5 hours. Now here I would say that it is trial up to 5 hours per game, or is it for all games combined, right? So I'm missing that information. 3 games. Try to be more clear over here. So what does 3 games mean? So maybe something like access to 3 games, or download 3 games, or play 3 games, or play up to 3 games. Copy of like that is more important. So I would say spend more time on the actual copy over here rather than trying to make these titles and subtitles really fancy. This is what people actually care about and not what is over here in the titles. So yeah. 1080p gaming, Now, I don't really know how VR headsets work and whether you can control the resolution, but let's assume that you can control the resolution. So this is fine. 1080p gaming, access to Discord server. So here again, I'm questioning, is there like a separate Discord server for the, people who've subscribed to the service? Or is it for every game? A little confused over there, but yeah. And here it says current plan. All right. So I'm assuming that I've already selected the current plan. Now, here's a weird thing, right? So I think that's been fixed over here. So basically the point here is that if this says current plan, it sort of means that I've logged into the website, because if I've logged into the website, I then know this is my current plan. I don't know if there is a login feature in the website. If there is no login feature, it doesn't make sense to current plan, because how does the website know that, this is my current plan, right? So that's a big disconnect. So then you've got most popular, we've got a plus plan for the players. All right. So $10 per month. So, okay, here again, $10 per what, right? Okay, $10 monthly, but still it's important to say, $9, $10 per month. Now, the most important thing that's missing over here is, I don't know if he's covered it over here. All right, so let's look at this directly, right? So it says $10 per month, which is correct. But this is pretty obvious. This is pretty common and basic, and this is not an acceptable mistake. The mistake here is that when people are buying this, they're not going to pay, $10 per month. They're going to pay $10 into 12, which comes up to $120. You need to mention over here that, $9.9 per month, $9.99 per month, but you end up paying an annual fee, which is a one-shot fee for the entire month of $120. And let's look at this design, which is basically free plan. So trial up to 5 hours. Again, 5 hours per game or what? I'm not entirely sure. Access to Discord server, 2x resolution gaming, lucky drop access. It's very unclear as to what it is. Maybe this is explained on the landing page. Access to beta and cloud gaming, all, features of the plus plan. All right. Now, the thing is, I don't understand the product and service as a whole. So I don't think it's the right time to critique this section. Let's look at the entire landing page and then let's see if we can critique this section later again. All right. So the final design, the hero section, the aim was to capture attention with an enticing and appealing design. The copy is clear and actionable. A video featuring gamers playing and enjoying the service is included to generate curiosity. All right. So fine. So let's look over here. Now, I already commented here, which is the heading, which is which is 12,761. Why? To show the number of people online rather than the number of people who have purchased the service, right? That's more important, right? Then it says try for free. Now, I would ideally like to see what try for free does. Does it open up a modal? Does it ask me to log in? What do I do with it, right? Then video showcasing gamers enjoying the NeoArc. All right, fine. There's some, it's pretty interesting. All right, that's fine. Okay. Video game showcase. The highlight here was the abundance of game titles available, catering to a range of interests. By featuring multiple titles from different games, users can easily identify a game that interests them, thus increasing user engagement. This phrase is not rightly used, I guess. So what do you mean user engagement? Is it like more time people spending on the website, right? If here engagement means spending more time on the website, I don't think that makes any sense, right? So because the objective of the website is to get you to convert. It doesn't matter how much time they spend on the website. As long as they get converted, that's fine, right? So this sentence that says user engagement is very unclear, and this is what I would probably ask in the interview. All right, so let's look at this, right? So the VR game Wonderland, 100 plus games, multiple genres, enjoy classics like air hockey, Donkey Kong, and more in our expansion collection, both multiplayer and offline. Please attention to detail. There's a full stop missing over here, right? Because if you have full stop everywhere, you need to have that over here as well. So here again, right? Very small things. Image is not capital. These are unacceptable mistakes. These mistakes cannot be done. And here there's no full stop, but here there's a full stop. So, pay attention to detail to everything. This is a big red flag to a lot of other companies and designers. So yeah. Anyway, now looking at the entire section as a whole. Okay. Now, there are so many problems with this design, and let me explain why. Now, the whole objective of this is to showcase the games. Now, showing a bunch of these icons adds no value, and the reason is because the first thing that my attention goes to is this part. Why is the name of the logo being repeated? Now, I'm assuming this is the app icon, right? If it is not, then this makes absolutely no sense. At least if this is the app icon, it's to an extent agreeable. But what is more important for me is to understand the games, right? Which means I can barely understand what this game is with this tiny small size, right? And if you look over here, these game names are actually even getting cut. So your objective or your logic where you're saying by featuring multiple game titles, users can easily identify a game. No, they cannot. In this layout, it is impossible for them to identify a game. It is absolutely impossible. Is this a car game? Is this a shooting game? What is the name of the game? It's absolutely impossible. So this section needs to be completely revamped into having very big cards and carousels where I can look at a lot of games. Now, how do you design that is up to you. But just showing this is not helpful because the moment somebody looks at it, they're going to spend maximum of 5 seconds and scroll because there is nothing to consume over here. The only thing I see is this NeoArc, which is actually standing out, which is again not at all important. What is important are the actual games. So either these have to be really big, take up a lot more space, or come up with a brand new design. This design is not solving the problem and this should be changed, right? So that's very important to understand over here. Now, free to play showcase. This section provides a low barrier for entry for allowing free trials for popular titles. But anyway, so each title can be played for 5 hours, after which the free trial ends and users are prompted to subscribe to the basic plan. Okay, so game trials on popular games for gamers who are not convinced until they try it. So so it looks like I can try every game for 5 hours and then I can sort of get a subscription to it. All right, fine. All right. Let's move on to another section. Then you've got the features section. Now, I'm not looking at the order of the sections yet. I will come to the order of the sections later on, but we're just looking and reviewing each feature, each section one at a time. All right. So you've got the feature section. Positioned midway through the landing page is this visually stunning section that showcases the platform's best features. Its purpose is to recapture the user attention and focus their interest. Now, here, the logic is correct, right? Having this feature section is important. Its purpose is to recapture the user's attention and focus their interest. But why is it in the middle of the landing page? Because a bento format is usually supposed to be used at the end where you're summarizing everything. Why are you, doing the summary in the middle, right? Because if I look over here, there is also this section called tickets and rewards, but then it's being explained later on. Oh, this is even after pricing. So ideally, it should have been the summary and then the pricing and everything else before that should be there. So even this rewards thing that he's spoken over here should be there. So this order doesn't make sense, right? Because this is a summary. This summary where you're mentioning ticket rewards can only come after, this main ticket reward section, right? Because when people see this at this point, because right now, let's understand the journey, right? I've seen the headers. I've seen that you provide a lot of games. You're showing me this free to play section, which makes sense. And then suddenly I see this, where I see this tickets and rewards and I have no idea how this works or what it is, right? Is this section deleted from the website? Where is it, right? So I'm not going to consume this piece of content because there is no clarity on it, right? But if you did show this section first, all right, and then after showing this section, you showed this tickets and rewards in a summary, then I would be able to connect the dots because I have understood what tickets and rewards means, right? So the order of the section is completely wrong over here. But anyway, let's see. A bento showing key features of the platform. So your arcade haven, immerse in a vast game collection, elevate your experience with 4K visuals, earn rewards and more. I would probably put a full stop over here, but okay. So 100K games, 100 plus games, best of the classic games. All right, that's fine. Here again, these app icons, I can barely see anything, so it's not really adding any visual value to me. Nostalgic titles. Now, honestly, both of these are the same thing, right? You're already saying 100 plus game titles and you're saying nostalgic. These two have to be combined together. There's no point in, having them separate. Then you have 4K 120 FPS. I don't really understand the technical aspects of this, so I'm not going to comment too much on this. And then you've got tickets and rewards. Now I'm still unclear of how this whole ticket system and reward system works. Where is the leaderboard? Is it per game, or how does it work, right? Compete and win rewards up to $10,000. Low client download size. No eviction of your game collection. Now, couple of problems over here. First of all, like I said, low download size is not a decision-making factor for people whatsoever. All right, people are buying it for the experience, and they're going to have good Wi-Fi, and they don't really care, right? The next thing is small things related to copy. So low client download size. S is capitalized, which makes no sense, right? Low client could be capitalized. Maybe C could be capitalized, but not size. This looks very weird. And also, don't use complex words like client. This is a very engineering terms word. This is not This is not something gamers would understand. So just say low download size. But again, my whole point is not to even have this, because this is not a decision-making factor, and nobody cares about this. All right. And then we've got community and events. Okay. Join a vibrant gaming community, connect with fellow enthusiasts, and participate in thrilling arcade events that elevate your VR arcade experience beyond the screen. Now, if I look at this entire thing, the most important thing is probably the 4K 120 FPS and the fact that there are so many games and nostalgic. These three things should get the most attention and the biggest and the maximum size, because these are the most important decision-making factors. A community and events, not everybody is going to want to do it. Only hardcore gamers, and I don't know what percentage of your user base are hardcore gamers, right? That is important to understand. If 90% of your users are hardcore gamers, then this makes sense. But if 90% of your people are just casual people who want to play games and who have a VR headset, then they're not going to really care about community and events, right? Now I'm going to zoom out and talk a little bit from a company standpoint, right? Why is this being limited only to people who have subscription to the service, right? If I cancel my subscription tomorrow, will I not get access to this event, right? That's a big question. I mean, for a company, communities and events are done for better marketing, which is to attract more consumer base, which is to attract new customers. The whole point is to make it available for everybody, irrespective of whether they have a VR headset or not, whether they are a user or not. The whole point of community events is to get more customers. So this is not a selling point to people who want to buy the service, right? And this should not be exclusive to people who buy the service. This should be for everybody in the world. And of course, there can be an entry ticket and everybody has to pay to attend the event, but it should not be limited to people who have only access, right? So I probably would disagree to this, but maybe in an interview I would call him and probably ask him to explain more about this and understand his logic, right? But for me, this doesn't make sense. Okay. Then we've got the pricing section. I think we already looked at the pricing section, so let's look at it again. So there's a free plan, all right, up to 5 hours. I think 3 classic games, 5 hours per game, or is it 5 hour total? That is still confusing to me. Here is the most important thing, which is saying that, $9.99 per month billed annually. And this again, for elite, right? Or whatever. Okay. So then I'm going to move on to the rewards section. Okay, let's understand. Emphasis on how users can win rewards. By displaying rewards in a leaderboard, users are motivated to engage with the service, creating a sense of possibility and motivating them to try it. Now, like I said, do users care about rewards, right? Now, I can't judge this as a reviewer because I don't know who your target users are. You haven't defined who your target users are. Is it mainly people who are gamers who care about this and streamers, or is it for casual people as well who just, want to game, now and then, right? And here it's extremely unclear of how this entire system works. So let's see. It says score big with $10,000 worth of prizes, compete and redeem top tier prizes like laptops, consoles, and much more. Okay. So in the spotlights, last month's ticket masters. So there are 3 people over here. Now, for me as a user, I don't really care who these 3 people are, right? What is important to me is what are the rewards that I get. So this information or, these names are absolutely irrelevant because I have no clue who these people are. Now, the more important thing is how does this work? Because there's a leaderboard for each game is what I assume. If it's not per game, and it's like an overall statistics. How does that actually work, right? And I've not come across anything, like that before, right? So for me, when I look at this, it's very unclear. All I see is that, okay, you're giving a MacBook, you're giving a PS5, and you're giving an Xbox controller. But then how does this work? What do I have to do to win this? Right? Do I have to play more games? Do I have to spend more time? Are there competitions? How does it work, right? Because let's say I'm playing only 1 or 2 games and I'm going to be focusing on 1 or 2 games, and each game has its own leaderboard. So how does this whole system work? This system makes no sense to me, right? So again, coming from a product standpoint, this is very broken and unclear. Then you have testimonial section. So drawing inspiration from trending games, I incorporated testimonials from popular streamers. All right, so basically all these are streamers, and then they have some testimonial over here. Not going to comment way too much over here. Although couple of things here is that I think visually there's too much gap over here. I would probably move this down so that the left and bottom padding, looks the same. This looks like it's a little off to me. This stream went crazy last night. I was playing air hockey. All right, fine. Okay, cool, whatever. Not really that big of a difference. Okay, so you can play this in 4 HD quality over here, all right, or watch the video and have the fun. All right, this is fine. Now, learnings. Now, ideally, I don't look at this, but I'm going to read this. Okay, stick to deadlines, time boxing each step, and knowing when to stop help me complete and submit on time. Now, I understand that this is a bootcamp and you have to do it, but again, this is another disadvantage with bootcamps. You have to follow strict deadlines. If you follow strict deadlines, you will not do a good job. I understand it keeps you disciplined, but the whole point is to put out something that is good rather than putting out something fast, right? As I showed you that I pointed out plenty of mistakes over here and a lot of product gaps that exist, right? So if more time was spent into that, then the visuals and the UI and the entire content would be a lot more clear, right? Now, another thing that I would see is how does this look on mobile device? Right? How does it look on very large devices? You don't have to show every single thing, but obviously showing how this looks on mobile is very important, because when you say you're designing a killer landing page, I expect this killer landing page to be killer because of the interactions, because of the responsiveness, because of the creativity of how it looks on mobile devices, every single thing, right? Or else it's not a killer landing page per se, right? And a landing page is never complete with just the desktop view. It needs to look good on tablet. It needs to look good on mobile. All of these things, are taken into consideration. So anyway, coming down, back to the learnings again. Understanding feedback, knowing which feedback to work on and which is crucial. What helped me to design the understanding of why behind the feedback. All right, this is fair. Overestimate and not underestimate. I understand the scope of the project at first. I underestimated the scope of the project. Only after a deep dive did I realize I was wrong. In future projects, I will be mindful and have some wiggle room. All right, good learning. An MVP is better than a perfect design that does not get completed. I agree, but still this product or, this landing page has so many gaps that I do not know how the whole system works, right? And I'm sure that there would be a lot of people who have a lot of questions on how this works. And I would want to have a help center sort of a thing, or even FAQs. FAQs are pretty important for a landing page like this, and that is missing. Very important. So again, that's less points for the landing page because the FAQ section is not there, because I'm sure people would have plenty of questions, right? And let's look at the navigation bar and see if there's anything interesting, any links that are there. Okay, you have got features, pricing, and reviews, but I guess this sort of, links to the same website. I don't think this takes you to new pages. So I don't think FAQs or any of the other important questions will be answered on the landing page, which is not a good thing. Do mood boarding for specific things, looking for specific things while mood boarding. For example, I had never created a pricing section. For that, I had to do specific mood boarding. Very important. So this is good learning. And document. I realized the importance of documentation while creating this case study. All right, fine, whatever, right? So overall, while this landing page does look really good, the visuals are on point, the color, the hierarchy is on point, there are a lot of product details that are missing. And also, there are small, tiny UI issues there as well, right? So in essence, to sum everything up, just having a landing page as a project is not going to be enough, even if it looks really good, because it has to make complete sense. It has to be very clear in explaining to the user or the person who's looking at the landing page what this product or service is about, and explain it in the most simplest terms possible. And that's why I was able to point out a lot of mistakes over here. Okay, so now let's look at this another landing page. This is by Ansh, and he has designed something for Tanmay Bhat. Now, for those of you who are from India, very obvious who Tanmay Bhat is. But for those of you who are watching this video from outside India, Tanmay Bhat is basically a celebrity. He's a comedian. He owns a company. He has a YouTube channel. He does a bunch of things. So he's a very popular guy. And if you are in the digital content creation space, or if you are anybody, Tanmay Bhat is quite famous. He's been famous for a very long time, and he's a very popular person, right? So this just introduction is for those who are outside India and who doesn't know who Tanmay Bhat is. All right. Okay. So now when I'm looking at this website, I'm going to be critiquing every single thing. I'm going to be critiquing the problem statement, the outcome, which is basically the landing page, the sections, the design, the content, the presentation of this entire Behance presentation. I'm going to be critiquing everything. All right. So let's get started. Okay. So the first thing that I see over here is that the word T, the letter T actually here is lowercase. Ideally, this is a name of a person, so it should be, like a capital case. I don't really understand why it has to be a lowercase. Sort of a big turnoff for me, but I'm sure if there must be some reason for this. If there is a reason, I would love to know what that reason is when I call this person for an interview, if I end up calling this person for an interview. And also, he's mentioned his name over here, which is ansh.png. I don't think this is adding any value whatsoever. People know who this is. And this is that Figma trend that's been there for a long time. And it's honestly so outdated. I see this on so many projects, and I think it doesn't make sense or add any visual, delight anymore. So I think I would totally remove this. It doesn't really matter. It's just cluttering the UI with, his name. And honestly, nobody wants to see your name. They want to see the presentation and the actual content. All right. So he's a part of a boot camp, and then he chose to create a one-pager website for Tanmay Bhat. All right, fine. So there's a little bit of a preview. I don't want to look at the preview right now. I'm going to go directly into the information. So I'm going to skip this. All right. So looks interesting. Now, let me walk you through my process. Now, this doesn't matter that much, but it's still something that people look at. And specifically because we're talking about landing pages, visual design gets the maximum emphasis. So you have to be on point on a lot of things. What I see here is that there seems to be a lot of gap between the word let and me. And then there's very less gap between, now and let, right? So first of all, the choice of font itself is a big problem. I know that this is a free font, but here I would have done a lot of things. First of all, I would try to add extra spaces so that the words don't look very cramped, and also increase some letter spacing because things here are too cramped. This looks interesting, looks like one big word, right? So very small things over here are quite bothering. And this is basically attention to detail and typography. And we're talking about this because this is all about visual design, right? So first up, I started off with some research, and as you can see, all of these sentences, they look so combined together. Like it almost looks like there's no gap at all, right? And nobody has to come here and point out these things. These are things that you should be able to figure out on your own. And when you see it, you see, hey, it looks pretty hard for me to read. Let me go ahead and increase the letter spacing. Let me add some more spaces between the alphabets or words, right? This is something that you have to figure out all on your own. So let's go ahead. Step one, initially trying to figure out. Okay, fine. I mean, that's not a step actually. Trying to figure out is not a step, right? But anyway, okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So what all does Tanmay do? Now, why is D in capital, right? Small things. All of these things matter. These things show that there is lack of attention to detail. This shows sloppiness, and you don't want to, be careless about these things, okay? So let's see. So what all does Tanmay do? Okay, now the biggest question is, why are you doing this research? Okay, there's no problem statement, there's no, context, there's no goals. Why are you doing this research? Completely, blank over there, right? Because if I have to validate whether this is the right answer, I need to know why you're doing the research, okay? And here he said initially trying to figure out this is not the context, this is not the goal, right? This is very vague, okay? So let's read, right? So Tanmay Bhat, primary channel. I'm guessing this is a YouTube channel. So just mention YouTube channel, right? Reaction videos, vlogs, gaming, live streams and videos, and paid content. Now, the biggest problem here is, I'm getting a lot of questions because of the way things are presented. So first of all, paid content is bold. Now that makes me, question, why is this in bold? Is there something specific that I need to consider? Why is this in bold? Maybe he's trying to emphasize, but why is he trying to emphasize? I have no idea. All right. The second thing is, what does paid content have to do with primary channel? Now I understand that, of course, these might be sponsored videos or people might have paid him to promote something, right? That could be any type of video, right? So it's fine that Tanmay is getting sponsorships for making videos on his YouTube channel, but I don't understand why that has to be a separate item. It could be a reaction video which has some sponsorship. It could be a vlog which has a sponsorship, or it could be a gaming live stream which would have a sponsorship. So why is paid content another list item or another category over here, right? So this has nothing to do with design. This is just common sense, right? But I'm still questioning common sense, okay? The second thing over here is overpowered. Now, I don't know what overpowered actually is. And then it says AI development. Okay. Now, I'm assuming overpowered is some sort of a company. And AI development is, I guess this company develops AI, right? Which I don't think is true, to be very honest. I don't think this company is going to develop AI. I'm very sure that's not the case. So this completely makes no sense. Super Team DAO, I have absolutely no idea what this is. And then he has angel investing. This is fine, pretty straightforward. He invests in a lot of companies. Now, another thing over here is that these three items, overpowered, super team, and angel investing, are at the same level as Tanmay Bhat. Why? All right. If the question is, what does all Tanmay do? You're going to say Tanmay Bhat owns a channel. Tanmay Bhat runs a company. Tanmay Bhat runs a company, and Tanmay Bhat invests, right? Why is angel investing at the same level as Tanmay Bhat? These are small things that people will look at, and I'm only questioning this because you've shown it, right? If you had not shown this, I would have not questioned this or even cared about this, right? So I'm paying very close attention to detail, and basically my entire point here is, if small things are not correctly presented, then the landing page, how much ever good it is, it will show that there is lack of attention to detail. There is lack of care. There is a lot of sloppiness in the work, right? So let's look at another one, right? What audiences does he cater to? Now, this is pretty good to understand. But when I look at this, it looks like all of these circles are taking up the same size. And I don't know what this graph is trying to represent. What does this mean? Right? And each circle is talking about a different user base, which is finance enthusiasts, Web3 enthusiasts, working professional students, and AI enthusiasts. Now, this chart or graph is not adding any value whatsoever because it looks like a graphical element that is just done to make things pretty, right? You could have just added like 5 list items and said, number 1, finance enthusiasts, number 2, Web3 enthusiasts, number 3, working professionals. Now, working professionals could be Web3 enthusiasts, could be finance enthusiasts, could be AI enthusiasts as well, right? So these things are not at the right hierarchy, right? Students could be AI enthusiasts, finance enthusiasts, Web3 enthusiasts, right? So this categorization of the personas also is not correct, right? And I don't know if this graph is actually meaning something, right? Does this mean that finance enthusiasts are also students and also working professionals? Like what? Now, another thing we'll see over here is that here it says frame 18 and frame 21. This is not acceptable. These are unacceptable mistakes. Now, you might ask, hey, Chetan, why are you making a big deal out of this frame 18 and frame 21? It's fine, he made a mistake, right? But here's the thing. If you come down, if I scroll over here, he's done the same thing, but here it's properly categorized. Problem 1, problem 2, problem 3, opportunity 1, 2, 3. Which means if he has gone and taken the effort to fix this, all right, and write this, I would expect the same thing over here, right? Designers are going to look at all of these tiny things and are going to consider this to be red flags because, like I said, attention to detail is completely missing, right? So from what I see, I understand that Tanmay does 4 types of things. It's also very unclear what this is. All right, I only understood YouTube channel and angel investing. I don't know what these 2 things are. And what audience does he cater to? I don't know why this is in a big, graph. I would just have probably 5 items and sort of let that go. All right. So again, that's fine. Next, step 2, identifying problems and opportunities. Now, it's fine. You can find opportunities, but how are you identifying problems? What did you do to identify problems? Okay. Where did you get this pool of information that is allowing you to find problems, right? Just by looking at this, I don't think you can find out any problems. You must have done some research. You must have listened to a podcast that he might have spoken about where he said something. How are you creating these problem statements, right? So, but anyway, let's look at it, right? So Tanmay Bhat is very actively involved in a lot of spaces, and a casual viewer might not be aware of what he does. People might not know that he makes videos around personal finance. Where is he involved? People might not know that he has a podcast. And what does it even mean what he does? What does it even mean what he does? I don't know what this sentence means. I think grammatically it's wrong. And what is Super Team DAO? Now, it's fine, but then why does a casual viewer care about what Tanmay does? Why does somebody want to know what does Tanmay Bhat do? How does somebody end up getting a question in their head, which is basically, hey, what does Tanmay do, right? How does somebody arrive at that question, right? And so there's an opportunity for that problem, so let's read it. So Tanmay is actively involved in the startup as well as startup comedy circuit and stand-up comedy circuit, and often collaborates with known people from both industries. Their names can be used as a leverage in order to attract new audiences. So here, when we look at this opportunity, from what I understand, I can see that their names, I don't know what names, right? So stand-up as well as stand-up comedy circuit often collaborates with known people. And I guess these known people can be used as leverage in order to attract new audiences. Now, let's take a moment and step back. Let's analyze everything from a product standpoint. Today, Tanmay Bhat, let's say, does not have this landing page. All right. And which is why you're creating one. Without this landing page, Tanmay Bhat has already become absolutely famous. Completely famous all over Instagram, all over Twitter, all over YouTube, and even in the startup ecosystem as well, without even having a landing page. And he's already collaborated with a bunch of people. So how is it adding value or creating a leverage? Because till today, he's never even had a landing page, right? I don't know if he does have, but we're going to assume that he doesn't have a landing page, which is why, this landing page is created. So if Tanmay Bhat never had a landing page and already has so much fame, how would a landing page help him? All right. Now, another thing, right? Let's look at this problem statement. Tanmay Bhat is actively involved in a lot of spaces. A casual viewer might not be aware of this, right? So if somebody wants to know who Tanmay Bhat is, what do you think is the first thing that they're ever going to do? The first thing that they're going to do is Google his name. So now let me show you what happens when you Google his name. So here I've Googled Tanmay's name. And there is already so much information about him, which doesn't even require him to have a landing page, right? So Tanmay Bhat is an Indian YouTuber, comedian, scriptwriter, actor, performer, etc. Where he stays, parents, education, height, etc. A lot of his videos, age, content, movies, education, tons of videos, movies and shows, and Instagram account, YouTube channel. So isn't this enough? Why does Tanmay Bhat need to have a landing page, right? Now, what would make sense for Tanmay Bhat to have is a landing page in case he's trying to sell a specific product or a service, right? Maybe he's selling a book. Maybe he's starting up a conference. Maybe he's doing some sort of a competition. Having a landing page for that makes more sense than creating a landing page to talk about what Tanmay Bhat does, right? Because this Google search is more than enough to get as much information. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that Google has even more information on him than Tanmay will add to his own website, right? So in essence, the problem statement itself is completely invalid. But let's go ahead and read everything else, right? So a new audience member. What do you mean by audience, right? A new audience member might feel overwhelmed seeing so much content. And so it can be good to onboard new audience members. Again, here, spelling mistakes. Please, unacceptable mistakes. You can't have typos over here. What do you mean onboard new audience member? Onboard where? What does that mean? Is it like... if I find his video on YouTube and I like it, I'm going to subscribe. If I find his reel on Instagram and I like it, I'm going to follow, right? And the basic question is whether this person has seen a lot of content or not. Why should they understand what everything Tanmay Bhat does? What value do they get out of understanding all the things Tanmay Bhat does, right? AIB was a big hit. AIB, for those of you who don't know, or people who are outside India, AIB was a big comedy club is what I'm guessing. I think it was a sort of a company that did a lot of things. I think it got shut down. But anyway, people still refer to him as the AIB guy. All right. And this can be used in advantage to get more credibility. This itself is so contradicting. If people know he's the AIB guy, he already has the credibility. How can it get more credibility? Because he has the credibility because they call him the AIB guy, right? So this again makes absolutely no sense. And what is the opportunity in this, right? I don't get it. Third one, since Tanmay's involvement is in so many spaces, it can be tough for him to collate all the links and sources into one place. This website can help him with the same. A full stop is missing. Now, I agree that Tanmay might have this problem, but what is he going to get in the end out of this? Let's say he does have this website with all his things. Who is going to visit it? How much of an impact is it going to have on his career and his life if he doesn't have this website, right? What is it actually going to impact, right? And so opportunity 3 is showcasing Tanmay's diverse portfolio can add more credibility to brand collaborations. No, I would completely disagree with this. Tanmay is already super duper popular and he probably has hundreds of emails with his team asking him to collaborate with them, right? So this is not going to add any value whatsoever, all right? So that's why I'm saying that even if a landing page does look good, it adds no value if the product itself and the problem statement makes no sense, right? So, but fine, let's go ahead, right? Finally, setting objectives of this project. What is the objectives? Okay, first objective, to create a page that collates everything Tanmay Bhat. Fine, but again, I don't find any use case or problem that we are trying to solve. And establish trust and bring in more brand work. So now I'm assuming that the target users are people who want to collaborate with Tanmay. And to collaborate with Tanmay, they want to know what and all he does. Fine, a fair problem statement, but not a realistic one for Tanmay Bhat, all right? Anyway, let's go forward. Setting up the information architecture. After a lot of ideation and numerous iterations, I settled on a rather unique approach of showing the a facet of Tanmay's life at every scroll. The plan was to show that Tanmay Bhat is a creator, investor, futurist, and writer. Okay, fine, pretty straightforward. Okay, setting up the visual tone. Colors. The motive was to choose a bold color that matches Tanmay's personality while not being very flashy. While also not being flashy. So I think that the English is wrong over here. A bold color that matches Tanmay's personality while also not being too flashy. Okay, it's not a single O. It needs to be double O. Again, English. Can't make these mistakes. All right. So now I see solid 1, solid 2, which is black and neutral color. Fine. And then you've got a gradient. All right, fine. The gradient doesn't matter because in the end, it's the solid, the brand color that matters. Now, my biggest question, which I would ask in the interview, why do you think that red matches Tanmay's personality? Where are you linking red color with Tanmay's personality? How are you making that judgment? Why couldn't have it been green? Why couldn't it have been blue, right? So those are the questions that I would ask in an interview. Now, I would have not questioned this if he had not mentioned this line. But because this line is there, I am going to question it. And if I'm not going to get a satisfactory answer, then I'm going to assume that's a poor decision choice. And it means that this person does not know how to make design decisions. All right. And again, I'm only questioning because I see it. I would have not questioned it if I have not seen this. All right. Next, typography. With typography, I tried to take a rather different approach of using 3 different typefaces, mainly to depict Tanmay's multifaceted personality better. Now, he's already said here that a rather different approach, which means that this approach is very likely going to be wrong and going to be a poor design decision. Now, first of all, using 3 typefaces in a landing page itself is a big disaster. All right. Unless you know how to be very good with handling typography, using more than 2 typefaces is going to be a big massacre. All right. And even the choice of typefaces over here have no correlation together. Let me explain. This is both of these are sans serif and this is a serif, all right? This is extremely wide, all right? But then these two are not, okay? But here it says mostly for headings and here it says to make things stand out. Why do you want to make things stand out with italics, right? Either pick these two or either pick these two, all right? And in fact, I would have just gone with Gilroy and done the entire landing page. The more typefaces you bring in, the more you're setting up for failure because typography makes up 90% of the landing page. And if the typography is broken, everything else gets broken. All right. So it's all started with combine and with all this combined, I started cooking. I created some iterations. There's some stuff I can't zoom in or look into any of them. So I'm just going to skip past those. They're not adding any value to me. So here is the final landing page. All right, let's have a look. So it looks like it's a wrap. All right, fine. I'm just going to go ahead and open up the prototype so we can see this on a bigger screen in Figma. Okay, so now let's critique the landing page. Okay, so it says Tanmay Bhat, content creator, investor, futurist, and writer. Okay, now I am Tanmay Bhat. Yes, that AIB and roast guy. I do a lot more. The guy who'll juggle comedy, YouTube, and Web3 while riding a unicycle on a tightrope for content. Now, there are so many problems with this hero section. All right. First of all, I don't know where to focus on. Okay. Now, first of all, this graphic itself is moving, which I like. You know, it's unique and interesting. I do like it, but it's competing for attention with the other things. Now, it's fine if it's competing for attention, but if you have too many things, I can't focus my attention. If you have just one or two things, it's easy for me to attention, even if one thing is overpowering the other. So, first of all, I see 3 typefaces here already, which is already bothering me. You've got, I think this is Gilroy. Then this is that, that sans serif typeface. And then you've got italics. And then you've got another one. And if you see over here, the letter spacing is way too much compared to the other things. All right. And I'm going to look at the tiny details, right? So here AIB and roast is italics, which is fine. All right. But here I am also is in italics. Why? Right? I understand you want to bring emphasis to AIB and roast, but why is I am also in italic? Right? These small things give negative points to the design. All right. The guy who'll juggle comedy, YouTube, and Web3. Now I like this animation of 3 different poses. But what I would have actually appreciated is because you're connecting, this image with this text. Something that would make complete sense is if each image could depict each of these 3 characteristics that you spoke about. Right now, they look like 3 different random images, right? But what if one image was about comedy where he's holding a mic? One image was about YouTube where he's wearing headphones. One image is about Web3 where he's probably talking to someone, or he's holding a bag of coins, or there's something else that talks about Web3. And that's a much better visual direction than having 3 random images, because if you see over here, one he's like kissing, he's saying thumbs up, he's face palming. What are you trying to say? This has no logic as to why it is like this. All right. And then here for content, I don't know what this means. What does for content mean? Like that's very random. All right. So let's scroll down, and here is got a bunch of things over here. Now, reaction videos, watch memes and react to them for content. Vlogs, watch me milk my friends' lives for content. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Honestly, what is honestly? I don't know what is honestly. Some insightful conversations on topic be like finance, Web3, neuroscience, and a lot more. All right. Now, one big rule when it comes to landing pages is don't let people go outside your landing page, or else it defeats the whole purpose. This will increase bounce rates. So what I'm trying to say here is if you let the user click on this, and I'm guessing this takes them to YouTube, you are taking them away from the website, and nobody is going to continue scrolling the website because they're going to be engaged on YouTube, right? Instead, put those videos over here. Why are you hiding all the important information behind blocks like this, right? All of these have each of this is a link. So you're making me open 10 links. Why are you making it so complicated for me to understand what this person does? All right. Instead, have some videos over here that I can click here and watch. You can have YouTube embeds and I can see those videos right here. Same with vlogs. And you're giving them options to follow him on Instagram and Twitter. Why should anybody follow him on Instagram and Twitter? What is the value, right? Unless I'm convinced that Tanmay Bhat has value that he provides, I'm not going to follow him on Instagram and Twitter. If you want people to follow him on Twitter, have a couple of his tweets, and if they like the tweets, then have a CTA where it says follow Tanmay on Twitter. Have a couple of his reels right here. If people like the reels and they watch the reels on the website over here, right? You can do some embed. I'm pretty sure there's a solution. People will follow me on Instagram. So nobody's going to click on these buttons because there is no value add. All right. And what does this mean? What am I going to sort of see over here, right? I'm hesitant to click because I don't really know what's going to happen when I click on this. All right. So this section itself is supposed to be a lot longer because what is the whole point? What is the problem statement trying to solve? Is to tell people what Tanmay does. Just showing blocks of text like this is not solving any problem, right? Because nobody knows what's happening over here. People have to struggle so much to understand what he does, right? In fact, even a Twitter bio or an Instagram bio can have all of these things. Hey, I do reaction videos, I do vlogs, and I talk about stuff, right? That Twitter or Instagram bio is more than enough. You don't even need a landing page, right? So this landing page is not doing any justice, all right? Some companies I've invested in, first of all, the gap here is too less, so I would really, increase the gap. Things are like too squished together, so increase the gap over here. Also, some companies I've invested in, right? So it's cool that he's invested in a bunch of these companies, but my main question is I would like to hover on them and see which of these companies are, right? Because if I want to collaborate with Tanmay, I want to see where his interest lies. So who are your user personas, right? If somebody is interested in this section, who would it be? It would obviously be people who have a lot of money and want to invest and into entrepreneurship and stuff like that, right? Because if they want to collaborate with Tanmay, they need to know what sort of companies Tanmay invests in. What are his interests? What does he like? Does he like technology? Does he like healthcare? Does he like finance? Does he like transportation? What are the things that he's interested in, right? And so without even having the name of the company, this is not adding any value, right? And I can probably guess this is Ultra Human. This is, I don't know what this company is, Small Case, Growth School, Wintwealth. I don't know what this is. This is Avalon. And even I don't know if I can zoom in a little bit closer. Let me try to zoom in. I don't think I can zoom in anymore. This is a prototype, which is why I can't zoom in here. This logo is smaller than all of them. Attention to detail. This is not acceptable. I don't know what this is. This is Riggy. This is, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know all of these companies, right? And this is literally like a heading, but now this section is completely different than this. So this section is probably just taking like 200 pixels. It's almost like this section has absolutely no value in the landing page at all, right? Now, then you've got this other section. Now, one of the most weirdest things over here is that there is this, arrow mark, which made me believe that this section of him investing had something to do with this. But it looks like these two are completely different things. Overpowered, me and Varun talk about the latest advancements and applications in artificial intelligence. So this is completely different compared to this, right? This is investing and that's it. It ends over there. And then what is this? This is completely new. So why is this arrow mark? Because it makes me feel like this is somehow connected to this, right? But it's not, all right? And what is Overpowered? Is it the name of the company, a YouTube channel, Instagram account? What is it, right? And even small things here, right? Me and Varun talk, right? It's not me and Varun, it's Varun and I, right? And also mention his name. Varun, Maya and I talk about the latest advancements and applications in artificial intelligence. Now, show me something over here. Why are you giving me a bunch of links? I did not come to the website for a bunch of links. This is this is very similar to Google. Google is also giving me a bunch of links. And why are you doing the same thing? I want to see the content over here. That is the whole purpose of the website, right? So this card makes no sense. Let's click on this one. All right. So Super Team DAO, we help the most promising projects in Solana ecosystem launch and grow. We are organized as a collective of creatives, developers, and operators who are experienced in launching and growing technology and businesses. Okay, fine. I'm guessing this is the name of a company again. And join the Discord server. Okay, fine. And Super Team's website, right? Now, I would prefer a better CTA over here, something like, visit website or contact us or check out more of our work or something, right? Super Team's website is not a CTA, right? And also there are just two options. If there were just two options, why couldn't it be one below the other? Why does it have to be one beside the other, right? This is just an additional unnecessary click for me, right? Just have them one below the other and you're sorted, right? You're anyway taking up, like 70% of the screen size, right? So you would rather just, make them one below the other, right? So yeah, okay, cool. Let's go down. Again, please have some, gaps between sections. Okay. I also write ads. Want your name amongst the cool brands. Let's work together. See more ads. Now, my biggest question is if you're telling me that Tanmay Bhat writes ads, show me the ads right here, right? What is going to make me click on this button if I don't know what the ads are, right? Why will I see more ads when I can't even see a single ad on the website, right? Have YouTube videos, have something playing, have a video playing. Show me the content here. Don't give me a bunch of links. Google is doing the exact same thing. All right. And you've mentioned want your name amongst these cool brands. So show me what are the brands you've collaborated with, right? You've shown the companies that you've invested in. Why not show me the companies you've collaborated with, right? That is so cool. That would be so interesting to see. As a person who would want to collaborate with him, I would want to see what sort of companies he collaborates with. What is his style? All of this is very important. So this landing page is not solving any problem whatsoever. All right. Ready for more? Get the latest updates on all things Tanmay. Don't miss a beat. Now, I'm assuming he has some sort of a newsletter. Fine, but again, I don't really know why somebody would subscribe to this newsletter, because they can just follow him all over. But again, I don't understand who the user persona is. Who are you solving for? I still don't understand that. And I mean, let's go is not a good CTA. It should be like subscribe or something else, right? Let's go where, right? It doesn't make sense. All right. Now, another thing here is that this is pretty much very basic. In the navigation, you must always have a primary CTA, right? Where is that CTA? Let's connect. Contact me. These are the common CTAs. Where is that for a landing page, right? That is a very basic thing when it comes to landing pages, and you just have to look at 10 landing pages and you can find it. Nobody should point this out, right? Again, an unacceptable mistake. Now, another thing, right? Now, I know this is a hypothetical, right? If people want to know more about Tanmay, they need to know more about Tanmay. What that means is not just what he does, about his personal life, about his journey. Where did he start? Where did he study? What did he do? What made him, become this person? Because if people want to collaborate, they want to collaborate with somebody who they can trust, somebody who they can connect to, somebody who they would, believe in, right? So where is information about Tanmay? This is like his personal landing page, right? So it's not just about what he does. It's about who is this man as a person, right? So this landing page is not solving any problem whatsoever, right? It doesn't look really that bad. I would sort of rate this 6.5 out of 10. I mean, I don't really like rating things. It doesn't make sense, but if I have to rate, I would probably rate this a 6.5 out of 10 just for the visuals. But from a problem solving standpoint, it's literally a 0 out of 10, right? It's not doing anything, right? So I hope this is very clear to people as to why landing pages are probably the worst assignments to ever do, which is why I'm repeating myself again before ending the video. Do not work on landing pages. They are absolutely waste and useless. They do not solve any problem whatsoever. And I hope by watching this video, you've realized how useless landing pages are unless you've actually solved a real problem and done it very well, right? So I hope this advice is very helpful to a lot of people. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channels for more amazing, awesome content. And we'll see you guys in the next videos. Till then, take care and bye-bye.